All right, looks like we're live. Looks like we're live. What's going on, internet world? Because we're blasting this on a couple of different websites. What's up? What's up today? As y'all can tell, we are talking ADHD and relationships. I'm going to talk a little bit to kick things off, and then I know y'all have a lot of comments and feedback. So we'll definitely get to that. So I'll let people come on in. I went ahead and I titled it. Let me make sure that we're blasting everywhere. We should be good. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I got the little late now with Dr. Kojo here. I'm gonna want to make this a series. I think I'm not sure, but I'm having fun doing this, and this is the first week that I've gone live twice. Um, yeah, twice back to back. So it's actually pretty cool. Josh says with the daily schedule, have any alarms for this one? Oh boy, I don't know. I want to make this a like a daily thing, like a couple of times a week, like at least Monday through Thursday, right? Like a little show, like a little Facebook type show. I'm gonna need, maybe 5, 6 alarms to get it right, but that's that's the goal for me. So I see all the love coming in. We got people from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got folks from Montreal, somebody from Virginia Beach. Okay, 757. We have Shreveport in the house. British Columbia. Someone said tighten up. Dustin, you get a shout out for that. Thank you very much. We have a big game on Saturday. Orlando, South Carolina. Yeah, Hawaii. Okay, we got people from all over the place. Please make a series. Please make what a series. Suffolk, Virginia, North Idaho. Okay, so we have people from all over the place. And that's the cool thing about, online anything, social media. Like I was on TikTok yesterday and then I was talking to a 16-year-old. It was live, right? And I think a 16-year-old girl in England was asking questions, right? In any other world, me talking to a 16-year-old girl would make me a creep, right? But you can have people from all backgrounds, all ages, come online, and that's why I want to, make it like a regular thing, answer people's questions. Somebody from South Africa, somebody from China, somebody from Arkansas, like I still haven't to grasp the fact that we have people from all over the world. I think that's pretty dope. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, St. Louis, Jalissa McKenzie, thank you so much. That's exciting. And today we're going to talk about ADHD and relationships. So, I've posted about this online everywhere, TikTok, IG, YouTube, and also here on Facebook. And, the thing that this is one of those things where the people that get it, and the people that don't. So the people that probably get this the most are people who have ADHD, and in your personal relationships and in your friendships, there's a lot of frustration coming from the other person, whether they're trying to parent you or whether they're tired of telling you things over and over and over again. But that's why we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. I see somebody from Arkansas in there. We have to talk about why it's so important to bring awareness to it. And it's kind of silent. And as this show expands and as we do this over and over, we might expand it and talk about mental health and relationships, because I want to talk about that. I want to talk about mental health and relationships. And there's so many different topics we can talk about what's going on in the news. But the reason why I want to focus on ADHD and relationships today is because, like a lot of mental health conditions, it's silent. Like when you meet somebody off the rip, you can't tell that they have ADHD. And somebody asked me a really good question, and I don't have the answer to this yet. I don't. But somebody asked me a question that said, "How soon do you disclose to somebody that that you just started to date? Right? How long do you wait before telling them that you have like ADHD or you have anxiety or whatever the case is? And I think it's something that you shouldn't tell somebody this on the first date. That's too much. Second date, probably too much. But at some point, if this person is going to be a big part of your life, you're going to have to tell them a little bit about what's going on, in your life. And I see Mary Perez says great idea. Yeah, mental health and relationships, because when you all are on these dating profiles or whatever, you don't really, we're not going to put ADHD in there. You're going to put that, your favorite movies, The Princess Diaries. So it's about time that we talk about when it's, appropriate to talk about mental health in a new relationship. And I see somebody, Larry, saying, "You have helped my marriage. My wife better understands me now." That's the crazy thing about it. Like, I don't brand myself as a relationship coach. I swear on everything. I'm just a regular guy who has a little bit of education, and has his own personal experience with ADHD. Who's had struggles in my own relationships, and I'm just spitting the information back out to you. So it's exciting when people tell me, someone that I've never met, who maybe I'll meet Larry, maybe I won't, but somebody who I've never met saying, "Yo, you've improved my marriage." Like, that's huge, and it's for free. Like, you didn't have to go to, marriage therapy, and I still support that. I'm not saying that this is a substitute for that, but I just think it's dope that people can watch my content and say that their relationships have improved. But to get back on topic with ADHD and relationships, I think it's very important to, first of all, like, let's say you're dating somebody, you have to figure out when you're comfortable talking to them and telling them, "Hey, this is what I struggle with, blah, blah, blah." But at the same time, it's also good to have that insight, because two people can have ADHD, one person can be hyperactive, right? Somebody can be in the corner, like, bouncing off the walls, and I could be here to the left, or you're right, and I could be inattentive, and, like, I could be spaced out, right? But you both have the same condition, right? And just from face value, the person who's, like, hyperactive, it looks like that person is a little bit more difficult to deal with. But the person who's spaced out might lose keys. They might forget that it's date night. They might forget their wife's anniversary, or these are things that actually happen. And if you don't talk about it, it might look like you're just trying to be an asshole for no reason. Or if you get frustrated and the other person can't understand you, it might lead to feelings of sadness. And ADHD makes you more likely to be depressed, with emotional dysregulation. So it's important to talk about that. So when somebody sees that you're going through this type of thing, they know that, oh, this is my person, this is my partner, they're struggling, not more so like, oh, they're trying to ignore me or blah, blah, blah. So it's important to, first of all, figure out, how does it impact your life? Like, what type of things do you do that are frustrating? Like, do you show up to places 10 to 20 minutes late? Like, that's a me thing, and if that's one of the things that you do, sit down and talk to your, this even goes beyond, like, relationships, your friends, because your friends might get pissed off at you if you're showing up to places late consistently. So you might just say, "Hey, you know what? I struggle with this, but I'm gonna work on it." Right. So what I do is a old black trick. Well, I guess it's any type of trick, but I'll change the time on my car. Right. So right now in LA it's 6:19 or 6:20 p.m. in California right now. But if you go to my car, you start my camera, it's gonna say 6:35. So whenever I go places, if I have to get somewhere at 7 o'clock, I'll get there at 6:45 because my car, time is adjusted. So that's, like, one thing that I do to get to places on time. And I'll still show up late, right? But me showing up late, according to my car, is still early, like, based on regular people's standards. And I'm looking here, Daisy says she does the same. Yeah, and those are the little tricks that you have to do. And also for actually, you know what? Let me talk about this because once again, my ADHD brain just kind of put this on my mind to talk about. If you're single and you have ADHD, that's the best time to prepare for a relationship. That's when you can tell people, "Hey, like, you meet somebody, you can let them know what you need. Like, the deal breakers for you might look different for somebody else. Like, if you're talking to somebody, right, and they don't give you, like, they don't reinforce the good things that you do and give you praise, that could be a deal breaker, right? When you talk about deal breakers, people are like, women will say he has to be 6 feet taller, or guys will say, "Oh, she gotta look like this," and she, but sometimes the deal breaker is, I'm not getting that positive reinforcement from the person who I want to be with. I think that most people with ADHD, myself included, you're gonna need, like, a cheerleader, on both sides. So even if you're a lady, and you're, let's say, heterosexual relationship, right? But it's for all relationships. I don't want to, like, exclude anybody. But regardless of the fact, you're still gonna need a cheerleader, somebody who is cheering you on, like that. Oh, you're doing a good job. And that's the way I talk to myself. Like, if I the way I talk to myself, if I spoke that out loud, it would seem like it's arrogant, but it's really just my inner dialogue kind of hyping me up, telling me that I'm on the right track. So those are some of the things that you're gonna need. And with ADHD, like I say all the time, it's the most treatable psychiatric condition. Antidepressants don't work as well for depression, and antipsychotics don't work as well for schizophrenia and bipolar, and mood stabilizers don't work as well for bipolar. The same way that the ADHD meds work for ADHD. And I'm not saying that it's going to help everybody out, but we have a lot of treatments, so there's no reason as to why. I mean, once you know and once you can afford, the right services and you're in a position to do something about it, there's no reason why you can't have a high quality of life, and you don't have to, have that impairment in your relationships. And when I actually do look at the DMs, one of the saddest things is seeing when people DM and say things like, I wish I would have found your content 5 months ago. Maybe I wouldn't have, be out of my relationship and things like that. Or maybe my husband or my wife would still be there. And I mean, to that, I say, it's tough. You can't go back in the past and change things. And I'm just happy that people did find my content when they found it. So it's more so figuring out, all right, we know this now. How are we going to move forward? Like, what are we going to do about this? How are you going to set yourself up for the next relationship? I see some people say that they'll like Adderall. Respect, what works for one person might not work for the other one. So there's no shame in one thing not working, and you having to try this and try that, and switch from a stimulant to a non-stimulant to a antidepressant to the Clonidine or whatever your doctor prescribes you. But I do think it is our responsibility. Like, if you have ADHD, it's not an excuse to tell somebody, oh, yeah, we're dating, but I'm just not going to show up on time. You have to be accountable. And in fact, accountability is a thing that you need. Like, if you're dating somebody, you have to tell them, unless they have ADHD themselves and they're on their own journey. But you have to let them know, hey, like, I need you to keep me accountable. Like, I don't need you to be like my mom, but I need you to like keep me accountable. If you give somebody with ADHD 2 hours to get something done, they'll do a fantastic job and they'll get it done. If you give them a week, they won't do it until like 2 hours before it's due. So you need that external accountability. You have to set your environment up to where you can maneuver, and like a regular person's environment is not going to be what you need, right? Because you're going to need reminders. You're going to need apps to help sound the alarm, so that way it's time to do this, it's time to do that. And also, it's difficult to like regulate your attention. So it's hard to go from one thing to the next, when you have ADHD. So if you have to do one assignment, you have to take the dog out, then you have to go work out. Literally, the difficulty comes from you're doing the first thing, then you shift to the second thing, then you shift to the third thing, right? Let's say you got all three things done, right? The neurotypical person will probably get all three things done in like 6 hours, right? It'll probably take you like all day to get that done. And the delay comes from like you finished one thing, right? And then instead of getting to that next thing, you look down at your pants and saw, oh, I got a TikTok. I'm wearing TikTok joggers. And then you go on TikTok, right? And at that point, you've messed up, because after you finish with the TikTok hyper focus, 2 hours have gone by, and then you have to start the next thing, and then you're like, oh, I should do this, but let me just take like a 5-minute nap. Then you take a 5-minute nap, and then you wake up 2.5 hours later. You have to wipe the crust out of your eyes, and then you're like, oh, okay. Then you start the second thing. Keep in mind, you have to do three things. You start the second thing, and then halfway through the second thing, then your girlfriend or your boyfriend texts you, and they're already at the restaurant, and they're like, hey, are you here? Like, I just pulled up to the restaurant. I just pulled up to Craig's LA or Catch LA. It looks really nice. But then you're at home, like you're sitting there in your underwear, with like a bag of Cheetos, and you're like, oh, I'm on my way. You got to hop in the shower. Then you have to hop out. You got to put your cologne on. And yeah, this life will be saved. All these lives will be saved. But you have to do all that, and then by the time you get to the restaurant, like the appetizers are cold, and whoever you're is waiting for you is in a bad mood, and then literally that small thing could like frustrate you. If this is a Monday, your week might be done, and that's why like it's important to once again like let your partner know like it's not an excuse, but you have to be accountable and say, hey, this is how life is for me, and it's just how it's gonna be. But if I know that on Wednesdays I get the random urge to clean the house, right? Then let's say you're dating somebody who doesn't work from home and they're busy all the time, right? And y'all live together, or whatever the case is, right? Now, on that random Wednesday, when you get the urge to clean the whole house, right? You've done the cleaning for a week, and that's opened up, everybody's space where you can move around and you feel better. So you have to figure out what can I bring to the table, what am I good at, and what am I not good at. And that's something that I actually watch a lot of Gary Vee. I don't know if you all keep up with Gary Vee, but I like how he's a big fan of not getting he's a big fan of not getting frustrated by things that you're not good at, right? So the tendency is things that we suck at, we want to fix it, right? And you still should fix it. But if it's gonna take me 8 hours to clean this whole my house, all these floors, right? Or I can just pay my housekeeper, who's the best housekeeper in the world. I'm not going to tell you all her name because I don't want y'all to steal uh, her away from me. But I can just pay my housekeeper, give her what she wants. She'll clean the whole house. And then that whole time I could be sleeping. I could be making content for you all. I could be doing this. It works. It works. So you have to figure out what works for you. Gary Vee is an entrepreneur. His full name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's a Russian entrepreneur. He's part of this hustle culture. I like to watch his videos from time to time. I haven't watched his stuff as of late, but he's a big fan of not worrying about the things that you suck at, right? But worry about the things that you're actually good at. And somebody saying why it's so important to take your meds at the same time. I think that routine is going to save your life with ADHD, and it's also going to save your relationship, because if you know that like I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, right? I know I can't miss it, because if I miss it, then I go late in the day, and then people are already on the machines, right? And then with ADHD, you don't like waiting in line, so I'm having to sit there and just kind of like twiddle my thumbs while I'm waiting for somebody to get off the machine. Then I go use it, and the next machine I go to is the same. But I can just wake up in the morning like I'm supposed to, get to the gym. I can do my workout faster. And then the next day I'm like, all right, I want to wake up again. And then it turns into a routine. So if you know that you have date night on Friday nights or Saturday afternoons or Tuesday mornings, whatever the case is, well, I don't know why you'd have a date night on Tuesday morning. So I take that back. But if you know you have a date night at a certain time, then like when it gets to Thursday, you're like, okay, like I know that today, this is the day that we do this. So like, I know that I have to be present, and I have to not be like burnt out or mentally exhausted. So you really have to, that was not neat. I gotta work to not burp as loud, but nevertheless, you have to really set up your environment for success. And once again, I think if you're single and you have ADHD, you have an advantage, because now you know what frustrates you. Now you know how to maneuver. So when you meet somebody and they don't understand how your world is, it's easier to cut somebody off, and I'm not saying cut off people, but it's easier to cut somebody off when you just met the person, and there's no like strong bond. You say, hey, we can just be friends, it's all good. I got this going on. You got that going on. No need to take it further. But when you've been married for 7 years, you have 3 kids, and a house and a timeshare in Orlando, you might want to work that out. And I'm not trying to be a relationship counselor or anything like that, because I'm not. But the more investment you have in it, the harder it is to walk away. So the best time to tell somebody about how your life is to do it like from the jump. And I'm not talking about the first date, but you get the point. Like within the first couple of months, let people know, hey, this is how I live, blah, blah, blah. So that's my little rant. little monologue on ADHD relationships, and let me look through some of these comments and answer a couple of people's comments. Somebody asked about head trauma. Head trauma can do a lot. It can mess up people's mood. It can cause anxiety, depression, mood swings, and it's actually being studied as a cause of ADHD. I need to look more into studies before I get specific with that. But head trauma could, especially if you already have ADHD, like could make things worse. And the unfortunate thing is, I'm a huge football fan, but I don't I don't I don't think humans should be playing football. With that trauma over and over. But I mean, I played football for a little bit, but I still would not let my son play football. You think it worsens as you age? I think as you become an adult, it becomes harder to manage something like ADHD, because as a kid, like, your parents force you to follow a routine and get to school. As an adult, you there's no, like, that external accountability is gone. And then depending on, like, if you're a lady and your hormones are going up and down, and if you're a guy, it's head trauma, or whatever the case is, uh, you might not grow out of it. Like, people used to say that. People used to say that you can grow out of it. I don't believe it. But the touch logo. What were they talking about? Narcissistic abuse, recovering ADHD. Well, that's a good question, Shanika. So with ADHD, here's the thing. This is how I believe ADHD works in relationships. There's no, like, cookie cutter way that it works, but you could have ADHD, and you could, because of how it presents for you, maybe you have a hard time managing your emotions, and you get depressed sometimes. You could be somebody who tends to fall for people with narcissistic traits. Not everybody is a narcissist, right? And I believe that we all have traits, that are narcissistic, but not everybody has enough of the symptoms to really meet that criteria to be called a narcissist. But if you have ADHD, a lot of times people with ADHD, you tend to want to people please, and you can find yourself going in that cycle where you're being bullied, just in life. Your boss could bully you. The big kid in fifth grade could bully you, and when you grow up and you get into a relationship, you could be bullied within the relationship, and it can lead to that cycle of, you get out of one toxic relationship, and then you tend to find somebody else with same qualities but different face, because that's kind of what you're used to. And at the same time, with ADHD, you could tend to be impulsive, to where, like, you leave relationships too fast, or maybe you say things that you don't mean. So it works many different ways, and that's why it's important to figure out how it affects you. Someone says, my parents were told that I would outgrow. Yeah, I think people used to think that back in the day, that you can just outgrow ADHD. But now, as we see, adult ADHD is no joke, and some people don't realize, like, what's happening until, like, you're losing tons of money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars, from impulsive purchases, or things that you should have paid but you didn't get it done in time, and your marriage might fail. Your relationship might fail, and at that point, you might get introspective and say, all right, I need to look into, like, what's going on, like, how do I help myself out. And when you dig deep, and then you see that, okay, I have ADHD or this or that, then sometimes you're like, oh, if I only knew, I could have made, like, the right choices, right? Or I could have done better. Let me see. Lexi, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Ooh, Lexi has a good question. A couple who both have ADHD and butt heads, but truly love each other, is it going to work? I think it could work, but you have to figure out, like, like, if you have an argument, you have to figure out, like, how bad do I want to win this argument, versus, like, what happens if I stretch it out too long, right? Sometimes, you're hell bent on winning an argument, right? Or somebody might piss you off, and then, like, you walk away. Or this is what I'll do. I'll be like, damn, I should have said that. Like, I should have brought this up, or I should have brought that up. And sometimes you get to the point where it's like you versus that person, you're going, you know, head to head all the time. And I don't, Once again, I'm not a love guru, nothing like that. Y'all might make me to be one, but I'm not. But I do think that I don't think love is enough in relationships. I just don't think it's enough. Like you can love somebody, but if your needs aren't being met, then it's going to be tough to sustain in any type of relationship, like a business relationship, with your boss, or in a romantic one, or even in a friendship. If your needs aren't being met, it's going to be hard to stick around. So it is going to take some work, and you have to look in the mirror and figure out, what do I do well? What do they do well? How can we work together and be on the same team? And also, like, you're probably going to have arguments, right? Somebody's going to get upset that so and so didn't put the cap back on the toothpaste, or you let the toilet seat down or up, or whatever the case is. So you're gonna have arguments, but I think it's about knowing how to navigate around those arguments, Lexi. That's what I would say, because you can't change, like, who you are, right? And I don't think ADHD goes anywhere, but if you can prepare for it, right, then you can have a better outcome. So if you know that anytime you all go to your son's baseball game, you get frustrated because you have to wait in line, then you manage your expectations, and you prepare mentally. And so for me, like, I do travel a lot back and forth from LA to go see the family back in Nashville or in Atlanta. And with me, traveling, I haven't figured out why I haven't purchased the TSA Clear. I need to put that down, and I need to write that down and purchase it soon, because I hate waiting in line. I'll do anything, I'll pay anything to get out of waiting in line. But traveling for me, especially when you have to go through LAX, now I try and circumvent that by going to the Burbank airport or something else. But when at least when I travel, like, it's frustrating. It's so many things. So I know that on days when I travel, like, I have a light schedule. So when I travel, I'm listening to music, I'm happy, I'm smiling. But if I don't prepare, I'm going to be extremely frustrated when I'm traveling. So if, let's say, if you're the same way and your husband's the same way, and let's say y'all have 3 kids and you're traveling, that could be a nightmare unless you prepare for it, And I don't like traveling with my dog, so I can only imagine traveling with, like, kids. Mickey Ficky, that'd be something else. Mickey Ficky. Josh, I've not heard of Deborah, but I need to look into her. Deborah Filetta. I need to look into that. And let me see what somebody's saying. Uh, Somebody said something about Nashville. That's what's up. How do you know if you're ADHD or depressed? Lori, you have to go see a professional to get a diagnosis. It's really tough, and I know, like, I post these videos, and I mean, like, I do my best to post the videos and hopefully educate people, but, like, until you sit down with somebody and have like a full out psychiatric evaluation, like 45 minutes, and they're asking about your past, what's going on now, past meds, everything. Maybe caffeine use, marijuana use. I mean, all kinds of things. That's when you really, really know if it's this or that, or this because of that. But it's tough to be your own doctor. It's actually tough to be your own doctor. Someone says, "I'm glad I found your page." Chanel, I'm happy the algorithm placed it in your path. And Jalissa says, "How do you manage professional relationships? Keeping track of verbal requests in an environment that involves constant interruptions is a daily stressor." Oh my goodness, that's tough. In professional relationships, I don't like constant interruptions either. And that's why what I do, like waking up early in the morning and getting things done, that's what works for me. The beginning of the day or the end of the day is the best time for me to really work. Once the day gets started and there's constant interruptions, it's difficult. And I remember back when I was working in Virginia, that's what I would do, right? I was working the forensic psych job, and I had to, I would get to the office early. I would see this one of the social workers. Shout out Mary Kate. Hopefully she watches this one day. But she was one of the people that would get to her office early. So I would see her sometimes, and sometimes I would walk in like I came from the gym, so I just have like my my Nike Under Armour on, and I'll have like backup scrubs in my office because that's just how I work. I live close to the hospital anyway. So I would get the majority of my stuff done in the beginning of the day or at the end. Because like if you work in a psych hospital, You have the meetings in the mornings. You get the report from the charge nurse, and then as the day goes, like maybe a fight will happen. Maybe you get a new admission. Maybe you're covering for somebody else, covering for like a different doctor on their unit, and then something happens on their unit. Somebody goes and restrains. It's constant interruptions over and over again. So I give myself like time where there's no interruptions to do things, or else if I was trying to do work in the middle of the day, I'll be frustrated. And I don't want to come off as an asshole to, the social worker or anything like that because I was frustrated. So that's what I do. I just find that time to do what I need to do. And someone says, "Do you let the person with ADHD win the argument?" Uh so Danielle, you're probably referring to what we were talking about earlier. I think sometimes you have to let people win the argument. I hate to say it, and sometimes my pride makes it hard, but sometimes I'm like, F it, I'm just not gonna go back and forth with you. Like you're arguing in circles. So sometimes you have to let the other person win the argument, just like straight up. And people are asking about marijuana with ADHD. I do not know. I do not know. I don't know. And I know enough to tell y'all I don't know when I don't know. And it's difficult because, with I don't think anybody really understands like the place for cannabis and medicine. Like it's been helpful for people with chronic pain, right? And I would prefer um, gotta be careful what I say, but I can see why somebody would prefer, cannabis to, pain pills. Um, like that's a slippery slope right there. And when it comes to ADHD specifically, we know that marijuana can do a couple of things. We know that it could lead to a motivation, which means that you don't have any motivation. And with ADHD, you already don't have motivation a lot of the time. So if you use cannabis, you might like really not be able to focus at all. But at the same time, maybe if you have racing thoughts and your head is spinning so fast that you can't focus, I've heard people say that they'll smoke a joint here and there, and then they're able to clean their house. Almost like it's like a stimulant type of effect. So it affects everybody differently. So I have to say I don't really know the answer to that, but I'm very curious, and I mean, I think we should research everything, including cannabis, and see where, what place it has in medicine. But I actually do not know. I do not know. Christian says guilty. So it says I prefer cannabis for pain management. Shit, me too. There's certain meds I don't like. Um, yeah, certain meds I don't like. Just to be honest. But some people won't say that, and you don't want to. You have to be careful as a professional, especially like I know that for people who are genetically predisposed to like schizophrenia, smoking, marijuana can induce a psychotic episode. So it's once again it's almost like a genetic lottery type of thing. Some people, because of how their bodies are and because of their bloodline, it might not be a good, idea for you. So that's one of the reasons why you just can't like blankly promote it, and say, oh, it's a cure all. It solves everything. Liv says, love is not enough. I believe learning about your partner's childhood trauma is a way to understand why they are the. Ooh, yee. Liv, I like that. Liv is preaching. I agree. Yeah, love is not enough, but you do need love, but I don't think love is enough. I don't think love is enough. My friends don't take me seriously when I want to vent to them. Jose, I would say get new friends, but it's pretty hard to find like solid friends nowadays. Let alone a relationship. So when you have real ones around you, keep them close, but you know, it could be nice to like set some boundaries and be like, hey, like I'm gonna need you to, like I need this, I need that, like I need you to like hear me out. If you're not being heard, then you're not gonna want to stick around. If he doesn't understand, apologies. Oh, yeah, chill out. Oh, that's my. One second. Yeah, Kev, now work. Yeah, Kevin, that will work. Did it go through? Yeah, I was using my watch to text my assistant. This thing should not be as broke down as it is. Let me see. Is ADHD same thing as anxiety? No, they are two different things. Um, da, 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 da. For Brandy, meds are first line with ADHD, but behavioral interventions can be helpful. I'm reading through some more of these. Uh, Destiny B, I see your comment. I'm not gonna read it out, but I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. And Camilla says marijuana helps with the hyperactivity, but worsens the focus. And that's what I would imagine it would do. But I don't want to speak because I don't have evidence, to back me up there. And you have to be very careful with misinformation online. So if I don't have evidence-based information to back something up, I don't want to co-sign that. But I could see how it could make the hyperactivity not as, you know, big as of an issue and how it could worsen the focus. I can see that. Um, Keep negative people out of your life. I agree. I would keep negative people out of your life. And sometimes that negative person might be your mom. I don't know. In that case, maybe spend a little bit less time with them. Let me see. Shaniko says we love you. I love my whole community too. I appreciate everybody. And of course I see Facebook is like the main platform here, but there's a couple of folks from YouTube, a couple of people from Twitch, and this is going to be broadcasted on Twitter, and these lives are going to be saved. All of them are going to be saved, so you can just go back on the YouTube page and watch it after the fact. But yeah, no, I appreciate you all. Like this influencer thing is pretty cool. Again, to educate and also entertain. Like we have to make it fun. We have to make it fun. And I didn't think that like mental health could be fun because I wouldn't see anybody do that. So and that's part of the reason why I left Virginia and came to LA. Like yeah, I want to educate like I was doing back there, but I need that element of fun, right? And that might be my ADHD. You know, telling me that I need a certain thing, because a lot of times with ADHD, you get bored and you have new interests and you want to try different things. And sometimes it's hard to do that in a job. You might quit one job and go to the next and, this, that, and the third. But at least for me, like I needed to, like I wanted to educate and entertain. That's what I wanted to do. And the forensic psychiatry job I couldn't really entertain there. I could, like being cordial with the patients, but like and that's not the place to entertain. Like, those patients, that's somebody's mom, somebody's daughter, somebody's dad, somebody's uncle. So, it's a real job. So like, I'm not going in there off the rip dancing, maybe if they want to see a dance, I'm like, all right. But I'm not going in there, trying to like joke around because the goal there is to make sure that the patients, get the treatment that they need. So, um, do you know? Oh, yeah, Jabbar. I know so many people who benefited from ADHD medications. I'll say that for people with ADHD, the medications and exercise are probably the two things that I have seen have the biggest benefit. But that's just from personal experience, what I've seen. I don't have like concrete data to back me up right there. When you Jose, I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep pumping these videos out. I got a system that allows me to get the videos out with my assistants and my team. So yeah, the videos are gonna keep coming. Jose, I appreciate you. Brittany, I see your comment. Oh wait, what did you find you first at ADHD? 25. What do you do to help yourself out first? Meds. Someone's asking about Brilliant for. I don't know too much about that, Dana. I don't know too much about that. And there's new remedies and things that pop up every day. And I don't want to go on record and say anything about any of them if I don't know what's going on. I don't want to, I don't want to be screen recorded advertising something that, I don't put my foot in my mouth. Kenzie, yeah, I actually taught at Augusta University for 3 years, 2.5 years actually, while I was in school there before I went to Virginia to work. I was taking the nursing students to the psych hospital. It was pretty cool. I thought I was I thought I was the best instructor, because we had fun, and I would let the students out early, and I would say, all right, guys, don't go back on campus because your classmates will know that y'all got out early, and so it was cool. I think I was the best instructor, but I mean, I did what I could. Does ADHD make you seem like you don't care about your partner's feelings? We keep having arguments about that. Shakita, it could, but at the same time, everything isn't always ADHD, right? Maybe I'm not saying this to you, but maybe your partner is, venting about something that you can't relate to, and you really just don't care. Not that you're a bad person, you just don't care. It might not be ADHD, it could, but what I do know is that it could be an opportunity for you to, or for you all to collectively grow. But not everything is ADHD. I appear unmotivated. I need a cheerleader and support. My spouse believes in self motivation, and I feel unsupported. How do I help him understand this? Ooh, Deborah asked a good question. I gotta read that again. I appear unmotivated, and I need a cheerleader and support. My spouse believes in self motivation, and I feel unsupported. How do I help him understand this? You say what you just typed right there. You have to say, "Hey, I need," and you have to lead with need, like NEED. Like when you need something, you really can't go without it, right? Like we need water. Like without water, you need water, you need oxygen, you need sleep. So if you have ADHD, you really might need that verbal support. Like it's a need, and it's tough when you said your spouse, right? So you're married, right? You've already made the ultimate commitment, so you don't have to get rid of him or turn into a big argument, but you have to get that point across somehow that that's a need, because needs are different from wants, right? Not that you want this, like you actually need this, and you would hope that he would do like a little bit, or sometimes, and that's why it's important to share these videos and talk about this, because maybe he just doesn't get it for him. So when you don't understand something, it's hard to do it with consistency. So you might have to just tell him, hey, like I need this. I need you to do a little bit, right? And sometimes I think we ask too much of our spouses or from our partners, right? And I've never been married, but I know in past relationships, maybe I wanted and that's why I always kind of put it on myself, because I only have ADHD, so I can't really, I might not be able to understand the bipolar experience or the schizophrenia experience, right? But I understand the ADHD experience. So for me in past relationships, sometimes I looking back now, I know that there's times when I wanted, the girl I was dating at that time to be sometimes my mom, my therapist, my psychiatrist, my teacher, your girlfriend, my housekeeper. Not that I'm making, the lady clean, but it helps when you do the dishes. My chef, it helps when you cook for me. But to put all of that on one person, it's gonna be hard for anybody to live up to that standard. So sometimes there are things that you need that you can also get from outside of a relationship. Maybe you can have some friends who they support you. They text you and say, "Oh, you're great." I have buddies all the time who text me and say, "Oh, Cody, you're in LA. You're doing great." And that'll mean a lot to me because that's one of my guys. That's one of my close friends. So you're gonna need that. Like when you say you need that support, you need it. And you do need some from your spouse because that's a person that that that's the only person that you pick. That's the only family member that you pick that you don't have any type of blood connection to. You don't pick your siblings or your parents, and you don't pick your kids, but your kids have some of you in them. But you pick your spouse, so you need to you gotta speak up for yourself somehow. Venus, I appreciate you. What are some good ways to decompress? For me, I like to. I'm always looking for new things. I like to work out. I like to go to the dog park. Sometimes I'll just go to the grocery store and talk to somebody out there if they don't come and talk to me, if they saw me, or maybe they just want to talk. I just picked up an Oculus Quest 2, the little thing you put on your eyes, and I'm gonna start playing. There's some meditation games that they have. So I'm gonna start doing that. I don't know how it works, but I'm interested in looking into that. So yeah. Uh, how do you do when you don't have that outside support? Ooh, Kevin, that's a good question. Ooh, Mickey Ficky. I would say lean into the things that you do have, right? Maybe you have one. I think if you have one person who believes in you, that goes a long way. Like just one person who's like, yeah, like that person has it. Like just that one person who believes in you can go a long way. And also, an online community is it can be very helpful. I'm happy you brought that up because what I want to do is I want to like I got a Discord. I want to have a Discord for like this right here, and I don't know how to do moderators on Facebook. I'm probably gonna have to ask my assistant to help me instead of trying to get my brain to stretch out. But well, actually, I'll just ask Kevin, like 5 minutes. But I would love to have like a Discord set up, and then everybody can just jump in there, and I can figure out a way to turn off notifications so that way I'm not overwhelmed. But having like a group of like-minded people, like just talking to you, encouraging you, like we have to use the internet. I don't know what way around it. We've got to use the internet because this pandemic, aka extended spring break, is gone on for longer than we thought. So we have to figure out. We got to get a little crafty when we when we're looking for that human connection. I had a tendency to rush a relationship. Yeah, relationships that happen fast. Oh, actually, I can't say that because some of them work, but a lot of times they might not work. My partner does this to me so much it's infuriating. I do it on occasion. I had some really let me know once in public, and it was embarrassing, and I applauded her for her. I'm not sure what Jesse's talking about there. All right, your dog's so cute. Minnie, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wanted to have my dog in the background, but she wouldn't sit still. I had to put her in the kennel. I had to put her in the kennel. Lack of interest in family functions. It could be, but the holidays are difficult for a lot of people. Um, Becca, I have a book. It talks a little bit more about that, but I got into mental health on accident. Took a job at a psych hospital, and I stayed on purpose. And it's funny because I nearly quit my job when I first started working at the psych hospital as a psych RN back in 2013. I actually wanted them to fire me, but they were so short. I was like, all right, I guess I'll stick around. And I ended up loving the patients. And then it's crazy. If I would have quit that job or if they fired me, I don't know if this whole mental health platform would be here today. So I might have to thank them. That's actually funny. Yeah. This is an extended spring break. This is the worst spring break of all time. Back in college, spring break was fun. We would go to Panama City and just be kids. College kids. Now this extended spring break has us in the house and people can't smell, and it's rough. It is rough, Mickey Ficky. The book the book I promoted at the end of last year. Yeah, so that right there is Thema. That's a ebook. That's a free ebook. The link should be there. If not, I'll talk to my assistant to figure out how we can put the link back on there. But it's a free ebook, so that one is free. I do have my book I wrote in 2019. You already won. That's on Amazon. It was an Amazon bestseller a while back, and I'm working on another book right now, a mental health workbook that it should be in stores like Barnes and Nobles and all those stores sometime this summer. So I spent time writing that book today. So it was actually cathartic to just write a book, because I'm so used to making videos. I just got to sit down and write and listen to some good music, and I was like in the zone, eating my Waba grill, and I felt good. I felt good. Yes, this Discord. So I got to get off because I got to head to one more meeting with my assistant Shanika. I appreciate that. This Discord. How in the world can how in the world? I don't know. How do people get this Discord up? I tell you what. Actually, I gotta do this right now. Hey, Kevin, give me like 1 second. I'm about to FaceTime you so we can start the meeting. Can you remind me to or help me set up a Discord, and then we'll just throw the link on Facebook, and then I'll put it as a swipe up on Instagram stories, so that way we can get both communities. And I'll also put it in my TikTok bio as well. All right. So now, so remember how I talked to you about accountability? When I send that message to Kevin, like I already sent the message, so he's gonna reply back to me. So now I'll have to think about it for like another 5 minutes because he will get back to me. So that's the accountability that you need, the external accountability, or else you're gonna forget. I'm gonna come up with the world's greatest um, idea, and I'm gonna forget it. So yeah. So all right. Yeah, 7 o'clock. All right. So I gotta head out and prepare for. Well, actually, I can't prepare. I gotta hop on this meeting real quick. But this is fun. This is super dope. This is really dope. And many, yeah, I'll tell Kevin to check the DMs. But this is dope. I'll be on here tomorrow, and hopefully we can turn this into like a daily thing, or at least like 4 times a week, at least 3 or 4 times a week. I think this is pretty dope. I'm having fun out here. All right, so I'm about to head out, but I love y'all. Actually, I love y'all. Get this head out. I appreciate y'all, and we'll be back on here tomorrow. Peace.